Now let's take a look at some more examples of using this product property to simplify radicals. So if we take a look at this first example here, the square root of 36w to the 5th power. So here the first thing we can do is rewrite this as the square root of 36 times the square root of w to the 5th. Right? And then we can go and try and simplify. Right? So we know that the square root of 36, that's equal to 6. So we're all good and done with that. Now we take a look at this square root of w to the 5th. Just like we do with a regular number, we want to rewrite w to the 5th as a factor, as two factors, with one being its largest perfect square factor. So the largest perfect square factor of w to the 5th power is w to the 4th power. So we can rewrite that as the square root of w to the 4th times the square root of w. Right? Because if we multiplied these two back together, we would end up right back at w to the 5th. So we can break that down to w to the 4th times w. Now if we keep simplifying, we have 6. If we take the square root of w to the 4th, well, that's just w squared. And now there's nothing else we can do with this square root of w, so we have to leave it like that. So this is times the square root of w. And now we can just rewrite this in its proper notation. So this would be 6w squared times the square root of w. Now let's do it again for the square root of 2a squared b. Right? So the square root of 2a squared b, we want to rewrite this, right? So we can rewrite this as the square root of 2 times the square root of a squared times the square root of b. Now, out of these three terms, the only one that can be simplified further is the square root of a squared, right? The square root of a squared is just a. So now we have the square root of 2 times a times the square root of b. And now we can't do anything else with the square root of 2 times the square root of b, so we can just combine these back under one radical. And if we do that, we would get an answer of a times the square root of 2b. And that's it. We just simplified the square root of 2a squared b. Now let's take a look at this last example. We have the 4th root of 8 over 81. So remember, we can rewrite this, right? This is the same thing as the 4th root of 8 over the 4th root of 81. So we go ahead, we see that in our numerator, there's nothing we can do with this 4th root of 8. There's no way to simplify that. So we're just going to leave that as it is. So that will stay the 4th root of 8. And now in the denominator, if we take the 4th root of 81, we would find that that's equal to 3, right? Because 3 to the 4th power gives us 81. So we have the 4th root of 8 over 3. There's nothing else we can do with that. So this is our simplified answer of the 4th root of 8 over